Hey everyone, welcome back to The Intelligent Founder. I'm your host, and I am incredibly excited for today's deep dive. In episode 1, we spent a lot of time in the weeds of model evaluation. We debunked the AI benchmarks, we talked about the LM Arena scandal, and we gave you the playbook for measuring ROI. If you haven't listened to that yet, it's a crucial foundation. But today, we are zooming out. We are moving from the software layer to the physical layer. We are going to talk about the infrastructure that actually makes intelligence possible. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button below to become a free or paid subscriber. Your pledge supports unfiltered, deep tech playbooks and gets you access to the full write-ups, frameworks, and infra war stories that I share 2 times a week. I want to start this episode by looking backward. Last year, in 2025, I wrote a series of articles on LinkedIn that tried to map out exactly where the telecom industry was heading. At the time, I argued that the industry was walking into a trap. This episode is for anyone who's building an AI and still thinks telecom means boring connectivity and big legacy companies. Because the 2026 reality is, telcos are either about to become the infrastructure layer for the AI economy, or they're about to burn billions trying. Quick rewind to 2025, just to set the foundation. What we saw last year was a massive gap between ambition and execution. On stage and in press releases, the story was AI transformation. In the data, the story was pilots, customer care chatbots, network efficiency, and unclear ROI. So 2025 wasn't the year of autonomous networks. It was the year the industry got exposed. Some operators were building real capability, and a lot were simply experimenting or stalling. Now in January 2026, we finally have the new baseline because the big reports are out. GSMA Intelligence, TM Forum, and Telecom Review, plus the broader market signals coming from the AI infrastructure world. And if there's one theme that ties all of this together, it's that 2026 is the year intelligence becomes infrastructure. So what do these reports actually say telco in 2026 looks like? First, the center of gravity is shifting from AI for telco to telco for AI. For years, operators used AI to reduce costs, optimize energy, predict faults, improve call center productivity. That's still happening and it's still necessary. But it's no longer the differentiator. The differentiator is whether the network is being redesigned to support and monetize AI workloads, especially enterprise AI and agentic workflows. Here's the simple way to think about it. In the old world, the network carried video. In the new world, the network carries intent. It carries thousands of small, transient agent flows, plus edge inference, plus bursts of compute being orchestrated across multiple cloud locations. That traffic pattern is different. The reliability expectations are different, and the business model has to be different. The GSMA report basically confirms this pivot. Operators still talk a lot about AI for network operations, but there's a clear push toward using the network to support AI demand, especially through data center capacity, edge compute, and cloud integration. In other words, the network isn't just pipes anymore. It's turning into a distributed computer. Second, latency has become currency. This is where a lot of founders underestimate telecom. You can build a great agent, a great co-pilot, a great voice workflow, but if it feels slow, the user experience collapses. And slow isn't a UX problem anymore, it's a physics problem. The reports are essentially describing a world where compute and inference move closer to the edge, not as a nice to have, but as an enterprise requirement. Enterprises are saying they expect AI to require improved network performance, and many are explicitly calling out edge processing capability as a requirement. So the question becomes, who controls the edge? Who controls the places where you can run inference close to the user, close to the machine, close to the transaction? Telcos do. They have the towers, the metro nodes, the fiber, the local access footprint, and increasingly the data center investments. That is why telcos suddenly matter again. Third, sovereign AI is real, but it's also a trap. Every operator is now talking about sovereignty. Local data, local cloud, local AI. And yes, this is a genuine demand signal. Enterprise and government buyers are moving toward private and sovereign options, not just defaulting to public cloud for everything. But here's the hard part. Sovereign on its own isn't a business model, it's compliance. And compliance doesn't automatically translate to profitable services. This is the sovereign AI trap. Operators build sovereign cloud capacity, but they don't build the software layer, the orchestration, the pricing model, the developer ecosystem, or the vertical solutions that actually drive utilization. Then you're left with expensive capacity and no differentiated demand. This is where 2026 will separate winners from strugglers. The winners will treat sovereign AI as a platform to build services on top of, security, orchestration, industry solutions, edge inference SLAs, not as a data center branding exercise. Fourth, resilience is the new board-level priority, but not in the way you think. It would be logical to assume that if resilience is critical, telcos would choose the most resilient cloud partner and standardize. But GSMA's data shows something more strategic. Operators say the top factor that would accelerate public cloud adoption is interoperability and the ability to switch providers, not resilience. In plain terms, telcos want optionality. They want to avoid lock-in. They want the ability to move workloads, fail over, and negotiate. This matters because the telcos that win in 2026 aren't necessarily the ones who pick one hyperscaler and copy their playbook. The winners are the ones who build a multi-cloud, multi-edge strategy and then sell that flexibility to enterprises as a feature: performance, sovereignty, and portability. Fifth, OpenRAN is still not the revolution people promised. This is one of the more honest and under-discussed signals in the GSMA report. After 6 years, open networking deployment is basically flat. Only a small share of operators are in deployment phases, and progress remains incremental due to performance concerns and ecosystem health. This matters because a lot of 2026 AI native network narratives assume you can rebuild everything quickly. In reality, most operators are still constrained by performance parity requirements and legacy integration. So if you're expecting the whole industry to flip in 1 year, that's not happening. Now let's talk about money, because strategy without economics is just storytelling. The TM Forum report is blunt. Operators have been trying to diversify beyond connectivity for more than 20 years, and the results are mixed. Adjacent services exist, but they're not uniformly profitable, and many operators are basically going back to the future, reinvesting in core network and IT assets because the digital service provider dream didn't deliver. What's interesting is where the report sees real opportunities. In B2B, the biggest opportunities are still connectivity, but security is right near the top. And AI infrastructure, sovereign AI data centers, edge provisioning, is now a serious category. And there's a big point here. Even when B2B revenue grows, profitability is not guaranteed, because a lot of growth comes from acquisitions, consulting-heavy ICT services, and low-margin integration work. So, what actually works in 2026? Here are the success patterns the data points toward. Success pattern number 1: network-attached services. If you can sell something that is structurally tied to your network advantage, latency, coverage, local presence, regulated trust, you can defend margin. Examples include Private 5, G plus edge compute bundles, low latency inference hosting, and security services that use network telemetry. Success pattern number 2: industry-specific solutions. Horizontal, we do cloud for everyone is a losing game against hyperscalers. But vertical solutions, manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, finance, are where telcos can combine connectivity, edge compute, sovereignty, and compliance into a differentiated package. Success pattern number 3: AI data centers as a product, not a real estate hobby. The TM Forum report highlights SK Telecom as the clearest template: separate AI business structure, explicit revenue targets, and a mix where data centers drive a large share of AI revenue and AI transformation services fill in the value layer. That is what telco as AI infrastructure looks like when it's not just a slide deck. And Telecom Review gives another kind of proof point: AI native operations under real conditions. When an operator can use AI to reduce manual interventions and manage huge spikes in demand, that's more than a demo. It's operational capability you can build commercial services on. Now, where are we going to fail? The failure modes in 2026 are actually predictable, and that's what makes them dangerous. Failure mode number one: talent and operating model mismatch. Operators say lack of internal expertise is the top barrier, and it's not just hire a few ML engineers. The cultural mismatch is real. Network teams optimize for stability and change control. AI teams iterate fast. Without a deliberate operating model, AI initiatives stall or get trapped in endless pilots. Failure mode number two: legacy BSS/OSS can't price AI native services. If your product is inference as a service, you can't bill like it's a fixed monthly phone plan. You need usage-based charging, dynamic SLAs, region-based pricing, latency tiers, real-time rating. And a lot of operators are still running systems designed for bundles and batch billing. So they literally can't monetize the thing they're building. Failure mode number three: sovereign. AI without applications. This is the compliance theater problem. Build the cloud, announce sovereignty, but don't ship services people will actually run there at scale. Failure mode number four: copying hyperscalers instead of using the telco advantage. If your strategy has become AWS but smaller, you lose. The telco advantage is distribution, local trust, and network control, especially latency, security, and sovereignty. If you don't anchor your AI strategy in those advantages, you're just another regional IT provider fighting on price. Now let's talk surprises, because 2026 has a few. Surprise number one: enterprises aren't defaulting to public cloud for AI. The GSMA Enterprise Survey data points to a strong tilt toward hosted private cloud for AI workloads, with public cloud as a smaller share. That's a major shift in expectation, and it's a tailwind for operators if they execute. Surprise number two: telco edge compute isn't automatically winning mindshare. Even though edge compute is a telco strength, enterprise expectations for using telco-provided MEC are still relatively low. That means this is not a build it and they will come market. Operators have to sell outcomes, not architectures. Surprise number three: the industry narrative is getting more honest. Between GSMA calling out the slow pace of Open RAN and TM Forum, openly describing diversification limits and the need for real-time monetization systems, the messaging is less hype and more execution. So, what does telco in 2026 actually look like in one sentence? It's a bifurcated industry. One group is going to stay in the optimization trap: incremental AI, cost savings, limited differentiation, and constant margin pressure. The other group is going to become AI infrastructure specialists, running data centers, enabling edge inference, selling sovereign and secure AI platforms, and packaging network-attached services for enterprises. And here's the founder takeaway, because that's what this podcast is for. If you're building AI in 2026, don't treat telcos as a distribution channel in the old sense. Treat them as a compute and compliance platform with unique physical advantages. But be selective. Choose partners who can do real-time pricing, who have a clear enterprise AI offer, and who understand that sovereign AI is useless without applications. And if you're inside a telco listening to this, the play is also clear. Stop benchmarking your AI against other telcos. Benchmark it against hyperscalers on speed of iteration, reliability of platforms, clarity of pricing, and ability to ship developer-ready products. That's the state of the board in 2026. If this was useful and you want more episodes like this, grounded in real reports, real numbers, and real failure modes, and if this analysis helped you see the board a little more clearly, hit subscribe. We are going to be tracking these infrastructure shifts all year long, and I don't want you to miss the next update. And if you know someone building an AI who still thinks telecom is irrelevant, send them this episode. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, and this is The Intelligent Founder. Have a great weekend, and see you in the next episode.